Welcome back to What the Hell Man, it's Sunday, put the tools down and relax. I can't. We've got a couple of days left before the Gloria, that thing there, before that goes on the dyno. Something special is going to happen in a second. I'll show you around a couple of things and then we'll do something real special. This is like one of those momentous occasions for any project. Some of you will figure it out already if you've been watching the lab on Facebook. But let's spin the camera around and I'll push this magic button and you'll see the other camera. Boom! I'm going to just wind some people up. Most of you won't care. I'm actually going to leave this red wire here for now. I mean, it's got 100% continuity. That's perfect. The electricity knows where to go. It'll just jump across and go drive our intercooler pump. It'll be fine. Of course, the intercooler pump is going to be driving thin air because I haven't put any fluid in the system just yet. Anyway, so we had a issue with the clutch master cylinder. I did mention that I probably would replace it. It is replaced. That's a brand spanking new one. I think that's out of a Holden Rodeo or something. And it actually had a 12 by 1, might have been 1.25 or 12 by 1 perhaps, thread in here, which is no good. I already had the clutch cable, hose rather, all made up for 10 by 1 thread. So I bored it out to 14 by 1.5 and I put an insert in there. And she's good as gold. It's working now. And we can actually shorten up that cable, and I will do that later. I do have the olives to do it. That's something that can be done when it all comes apart. Brake master cylinders on there. Could do brakes before dyno. Won't. Don't really want to spend time on that right now. I'll get that sorted after the dyno. Main engine harness has been shifted to its proper spot and 100% complete with all its magic invisible insulation and clamps and rubber grommet around the firewall, which reminds me I do actually need to put a real bit of spy wrap around that, protect it so it doesn't chop up through the wires while we're on the dyno. Now you will have figured out that seeing as I've got the clutch master cylinder on there and that's bled up and the engine runs and we've got a gear shifter and we've got a drive shaft and we've got wheels and tires and it's on the ground and all the arms are out of the way for the hoist. The only thing stopping it from moving is we've still got the laptop sitting in here, and that's only just there just in case I go to fire it up and something's not happy. And you do have to kind of watch your feet with the spaghetti. But the theory is, I tried this the other day and I actually had a flat battery and stuffed up my video. But this is genuinely, we'll be able to turn the key. It's running good. Let's unplug this laptop. Oh, that fuel leach is a bit rich. That's alright, that's what the tune is for. Rightio. This is real time, no editing. We've shifted our cable out of the way. And put my fat bum in this seat. Oh, look at this. Oh, look at this spaghetti. A couple of cable ties before the tune. So there we go. Foot on the clutch there. Just went into reverse. Let's look at the scenery. This will be. It's moving. It's moving. Let's hit the bump on the hoist. We just did our first wheel spin by accident. Okay, we got our chock down there. We don't have a handbrake at the moment. The old beastie's out of the garage, running and moving with no brakes. It's kind of sketchy, and it's accidentally done its first skid, so got a lot of weight in the back of it. Brand spanking new tyres, no grip on them really, and front wheels hooked up on our pump on the hoist there. So that's what that was about. But never mind. Actually, that looks good, doesn't it? Who needs a bonnet? Let's not worry about the bonnet. So why this is out here, look at that. That looks pretty sharp. Some people don't like the wheels, that's fine. I'm just going to decide whether he likes them or not when he's seen in person. Trying to idle a little bit slow, isn't it? There we go. Definitely needs sorting the mixture. That won't be quite right. Be close, but not quite right. It's out here. Get a wash. She's pretty dirty. Very, very dirty. I'm actually going to give it a blast with the air compressor first. I can't give it a big rev for you, sorry, because I don't want to annoy my neighbours. In fact, they don't like it idling for too long either. But she's starting to look pretty good, isn't it? Just like that, it was clean. It's probably the most premature car wash in the history of mankind. Excuse the wind noise if there's any. But the owner will be seeing it on Tuesday, in theory. Sorry, Wednesday, when it goes on the dyno. And he wanted to have some photos and stuff of it looking all pretty. So there you go, it's clean. Now I've just got to get it back in the garage without crashing it with no brakes. Should really charge extra when have to load cars up in the rain, eh? Not that it's the customer's fault. Bloody rain! It's just about stopped. So there she is. She's got the bonnet on now, and well, everything really. So look at it from the outside. If you don't look inside the windows, the only difference is the wheels. Some of the wheel nuts are missing, but I'll go. So that's that, ready to go. She's tied onto the lower shock mounts at the back on the diff, so that's good. Won't scratch up wheels or anything like that. And crossed it over on the front there onto the inside edge of the lower control arms, just to, again, like I say, to avoid scratching up wheels. For my race car, I use these holes in the side of the trailer here, tied around the wheels, and that's all good. But he may want to change those, so we definitely don't want to scratch them if we can avoid it. It's going to get a bit wet tonight, can't do much about that. I would put a tarpaulin over it, but it'll probably scratch up the paint, so it's just the way it is. Can't do much about it when you've got a sky that looks like that. Right, next stop, Tauranga. Alright, we have arrived at our destination. That's it, dyno machine over there. Of course, we've just gone into alert level 2 across the country and alert level 3 in Auckland, so if I'm a bit muffled, that's because I'm wearing a mask. Right, we got here in one piece. A couple of slow trucks on the Kaimais, but never mind. We'll use the winch, we'll get it off the trailer into the dyno room, see how we go. So after basically being kicked out of the dyno room, we didn't even get in the dyno room. We weren't allowed to go in there. New Zealand's just gone into lockdown as of midday today. We may not actually be there yet, but not to worry. We popped off down the road here to BP to get ourselves a bit of a drink and kill some time, and we've bumped into Nick Ning, who you may remember from the Skid Factory tour of New Zealand. We're just going to have a look at Nick's car. I was going to call it a piece of shit to wind him up, but I better not do that on camera. Our customer Ben's not that keen on being on camera, so he's yakking away in the background. I'll do my usual story of getting everything absolutely wrong, and Nick can do some corrections
Nick's in the background there. Oh, I'm gonna interrupt his conversation in a second. So Nick's just come over and he's told me he's very proud of his fan shroud. This is the pinnacle of his fabrication career, made with exotic materials sourced from what he could find at the time. Nice heat shielding on the air intake. Must be rubbing on something, I'm guessing. Oh yes, there it is. There it is. It's my job to go around and critique the heck out of this, because everyone does that and everyone loves doing it in New Zealand. It's actually not a bad car. Not bad. There's a video of this being tuned. I'm gonna have to yell out to the fella and get him over here. Nick! Put a rotary in it! He said it's got the rotary piston upgrade. I'm not sure. Nick! Don't mind the...
Yeah, I know.
Get over here!
Yep. So, this is a 3-rotor. You can tell because there's 8 intake ports. It's powered by a Haltech sticker. I paid quite a bit for this sticker.
Oh, no, we have to blur that out.
Oh,
we can't have that in my video.
Why?
Why?
Because it actually works.
Because comedy.
Oh.
We're gonna... How does your ethanol sensor work? Is this a Bluetooth sensor?
Mm-hmm.
Is this
Yeah, we unplugged it because it's only got one tune on it, one map on it.
Oh, fair enough. Oh no, I was just wondering if it had its own little electrical generator inside and then operating via Bluetooth. There's a product for someone.
Well, I mean, yeah, I was essentially...
Oh no, the Rona! Did you hear it?
Yeah, I did.
Oh no!
Essentially I was making too much power, so I unplugged it. And then you can see that some of the juice is actually leaking out of the brake booster vacuum line.
Oh really? The horsepower's leaking out?
Yeah, well, I was making far too much. So...
It's too much?
You just had to pull it back. I mean,
hang on, you're going to have to explain this concept of too much horsepower.
Well, it was too much. I race anyone. I mean, Subarus mainly.
Does anyone understand this? Is anyone buying this? I'm not buying it.
So, I had to...
You beat Subarus.
Look, I mean...
Did you race any real cars?
No. I mean, I've just been beating so many men.
Anyway. Oh my god. I'm feeling this is what happens when you come to Tauranga. Oh look, it doesn't have the wing on the back of it. I think the wing, it's got some attach points there. I think the wing only comes out to play when it's racetrack.
No, this we had a camera set up that sat on the back.
Oh, there's a camera set up.
Yeah, so I used it as a camera car for a wee bit, and then it just became my toy. So
oh right.
That's why it's filthy and neglected now. I drove this to Cromwell and back.
Yes, I was there. It was it chrome? Was that? Yeah, and then I broke the march. Yeah, we won't talk about that today. Anyway, so Ben and I are going to make a journey back to the dyno and see what noises we can hear from outside the dyno room, because we're not really allowed in the dyno room, which I mean it's kind of fair enough. What's up?
Meow.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're from around here, meow?
Meow? What?
Meow?
Meow?
Alright, I'm gonna go meow.
Yeah. There's some weird things happening around here. I think we need to stop giving Nick coffee. Strange people. Good to see. Battery is clamped down. Like, that's probably the number one thing you see at racetracks when you're scrutineering race cars, road cars trying to be race cars, is the batteries are not held down. Anyway, that beastie doing its job well again. Towed the Gloria over here, no dramas at all. Let's go back up the hill and see what we can see or hear. So unfortunately, with all the COVID BS going on, this has been our view for the day. I just heard a lovely noise coming from behind that door though. I'm sure if you listen carefully. And there's a monster. this has been every time I've got out the camera today to record a run. There hasn't been a run to record. It sounds like he's doing part throttle stuff, like bottom end stuff. We'll get some later anyway. Ooh, some load going on. Come on, send it. A bit more. There's some more. Right, I'll put the phone down and then he'll give it a rev and we'll hear it. But we'll get some with the door open later on, I hope. That's my plan anyway. More light throttle. I know the second I put this phone down, he'll do a full run. Oh. So there was an issue with doing longer runs earlier on due to the radiator being a little bit small for the job. I'm not sure if he's perhaps come up with a solution to that. Can we see anything in there? We can see there's the Gloria on the dyno. This is as much as what we're going to see today, unfortunately. Engine sounds like an angle grinder, eh? Oh. More vroom vroom. Oh. This door. We're looking at a door again. Not sure if more of this low speed stuff or whether this will be a power run. Now I believe, I may have got this wrong, but I believe it was 483 horsepower at 5,500 RPM at this point. So I think we're pretty comfortable with our 500 horsepower. That's going to happen if we want it. Maybe, if nothing else goes wrong. Still another 1,000 RPM on the old Dyno pack. Waiting. Oh. Nope. Yes, no. You can hear when the throttle's wide open, that supercharger starts working. The little valve, vacuum controlled valve in between the manifold and the throttle closes off, makes the supercharger work. Sounds like it's going alright. He's done a few pulls. It's lower revs, just holding it at various revs, running through the throttle position, getting the mixtures right across the range. A couple of little hiccups, but nothing serious at the moment, touch wood. So hopefully when we get to the point where we can do a couple of power runs without any more tuning to do, we'll see if we can open this door for us. I think we've already said that, but I am quite keen to see that. I'm gutted I can't be in there watching that. Damn you, COVID. Listen to that. Need a window. Put a window in your door, Dave. You can see the car. War. Being granted permission. I'm stuck in the corner. I can't stand too close to anyone. Here we go with a power run. I don't know what power we're up to yet. I haven't even asked. I was just told if you come in for one video, can't run it too long because it's getting hot. That is a grunter. I think is that 490 or something over there? Oh, well, that's as near as, damn it, 490. That'll do. Thanks again to Dave. And through the magic of television, or computers, the internet, cameras, whatever, we're back in Hamilton. So, a relatively successful session on the Dyno. 490 horsepower at the hubs. Some would say at the wheels. It's not really, is it? It's at the hubs. So, I don't even want to discuss. All you guys are going to rant about a rolling road would have had less power and all that sort of. Just shut up and go to another channel if you like that. 700 Newton meters at the 710 Newton meters at the engine predicted based on stuff and things, you know. So pretty grunty motor. Couldn't run it under load for long periods of time because the radiator's a little bit small. It is not big enough, and I hadn't got around to putting the power relay in for the wires to run the fans. I did suggest before we'd even run it that if it started to get hot, then perhaps just put some power onto those and see if it makes a difference. That wasn't done. It just got hot and whatever. He just waited for it to cool down. So, to be fair, if it couldn't run on the dyno with the big fans that they have in the front of it without running those electric fans to keep it cool, there's two 12 inches in behind there. If it needed those to keep it cool while it's on the dyno with the other big fans in front of it as well, then it was never going to work terribly well on the road anyway. It was always going to get hot. So, but end of the day, hey, the tune got done. 490 horsepower at the wheels. He wanted 500. That's near as damn it. He's happy. The interesting thing was it was only at 4 psi boost. That pulley should have created 8, according to my research and calculation and all that sort of carry on. We thought earlier on that small belt at the back here would be slipping, so that was retensioned. It appears that it's tight enough now that it shouldn't be slipping. There's no way the front one is. That's pretty tight. There's no way that'll slip. So my conclusion there is the engine possibly has had camshafts put into it, aftermarket camshafts, so it's flowing more air, creating less restriction, so you're getting less boost in the manifold, but more airflow, which is why we're getting our good horsepower anyway, regardless of only 4 psi boosted. Yeah, so not a bad result. A lot of work to go. We've got to get this all torn to pieces, and it needs to go into the panel beater for that stuff that, ironically, I'm not allowed to repair the chassis rails under the car anymore because New Zealand bureaucrats are a bunch of, just insert some cool expletives just there. So like we can chop off the front of the car and we can TIG weld new chassis rails and all that sort of carry on and put all different suspension in it and different engine and computer and power steering and all that sort of carry on, go through the Low Volume Vehicle Technical Association procedures, and all this should be fine. It should be on the road, no problems, if I've done everything properly and they're happy with it, etc. But I can't put a couple of patches on the chassis rails under here, under your seats. I'm allowed to, if it's a repair, I'm not allowed to do that. No, I have to go and get myself a iCar welding certificate. It has to be MIG welded rather than TIG welded, and it has to have a repair certifier look at it, and the car has to go on a chassis machine for that, and they have to go through the whole car if there's any other stuff anywhere it needs to repair. It's just a load of bollocks. But anyway, so it's got to be done. We'll just pay a panel beater to do that. Stupid, isn't it? So anyway, that'll happen, and we'll get the car back. It'll be final assembly, while the car's away getting those other things done, I'm going to do things like the catch can. You'll see we've got the power steering reservoir here. And build that catch can as per what, I can't remember his name, sorry. Someone on YouTube suggested it. I ran it by the customer and he's like, yeah, let's do that. So there'll be another cylindrical vessel over here, as similar to that as practical, and we'll run those. Whereas under that map sensor there's a port there, and on the other side is another port. We'll run some hoses, we'll put them into that, and then we'll run it into this intake system here, which will probably get changed when the radiator gets changed, because he's too small. Thought it would be. Mentioned that right near the start. I was like, a bit skeptical as to whether that will do the job or not. But as you can see, it's heaps of height to put a bigger radiator. We just need to move this intake plumbing somehow, some way to give us more room. We'll figure that out when we get there. All right. Bloody hell. Right, so it goes anyway. Goes and drives. Just no brakes, so you can't drive it fast or far. You can move it, not really drive it. So, good progress there. Happy with that. The bad news is, this thing here, not going to be using that anytime soon, by the looks of it. Right now, as things stand right at this very minute, yes, we'll still be using it on the 23rd. Strongly suspect things are going to change before then. So the whole country's in minimum level 2. So everyone's on at least level 2. Auckland is in level 3 of lockdown. Now, in level 3 of lockdown, we cannot go racing with cars. In level 2, we can, but we're only allowed up to 100 people in meetings and stuff like that. I think there's some sort of motorsport thing we get around that with special procedures and all that, so carry on. So at the moment I could still race it, but I think things are going to change. I need to brake fluid, clutch fluid, engine oil, fresh fuel. Ideally would need new tyres to get the best out of it, but let's not bother with that for this particular round, and it'll be ready to go. So I'm going to hold off on doing that until later next week, because I've got a feeling things are going to change. I personally think we're heading for level 4. I think the whole lot of us will be stuck at home again, but hey, it is what it is. At least it's out of the rain at the moment. Might not be tomorrow, because it's going to go on the hoist to take to pieces, so this poor old girl will get kicked back out again. All right. Cheers, boy.